Hey guys, it's me, Becky, coming at you with my week 22 post-op VSG video update. Yeah, it's Wednesday. I'm on time this week. I've had a decent week as far as like acknowledging things, but we'll get into that. So my highest weight was 320 back in December of 2016. My pre-op diet start weight was 295.2. That was May 30th of 2017. My day of surgery weight a week later on June 6th was 284 even. Today I am 213.6. Now I was 213.6 last Wednesday also. So I didn't lose anything this week, but that's okay because I actually saw after 213.6 last week, I actually crept back up to 216. So being back down to 213 is perfectly fine with me. So since my high weight, I've lost 106.4 pounds. Since my pre-op diet, I've lost 81.6. And since day of surgery, which is the most important number when considering the surgery, I've lost 70.4. So those are all good numbers for me anyway. I'm excited about them. Even the 0 pound loss from last week to this week, I'm okay with that. I'm not upset at all. I'm more upset with myself I know that this isn't just a weight loss mechanism that you just have the surgery and you figure out how to eat right and exercise. Like, it's mental as well, because that essentially is why you have the issues you have. It's something's going on in your head. You have trigger foods, you have emotional eating, you have stress eating, you just like to eat a lot of food. You know, you have to figure out what your reasons behind eating are and address that. So I haven't addressed it necessarily, but and I wrote some notes down because I did want to talk a bit about this last week. So last week was Halloween, and we walked the kids around the block, and it was wonderful. It was fun, had a good time, and they brought home a ton of candy. Which one, I think I mentioned it in a previous video, that I was at the store with my husband buying candy to pass out to the trick-or-treaters, and he kind of made me put the candy I had picked out back because he knew that I was picking candy to pass out in the hopes that we would have candy left that I could eat. Sorry. So he made me put that back, and I was kind of upset about it. I mean, not like crying or anything, but in my chest and in my head, I mean, I was like having kind of a little mini panic attack, like, don't call me out like that, you know? Don't pinpoint me with such accuracy. So I had that moment, and then so we did our trick-or-treating. Kids got a lot of candy, and every day I would walk by those bags of candy, and I would grab 2 pieces. And I would go out of my way to walk by those bags. Like, and I would probably walk by at least 3 or 4 times a day. And I wasn't necessarily home all day. I had to go to work. So in short periods of time, I was grabbing lots of candy. So I finally sent my husband a text message because he was home for the better part of last week or this week, asking him to please hide the candy. Like, the kids can still have access to it, you know, whatever. They're going to have to go through him or my mother-in-law to get it. I cannot know where that candy is because it's too much for me having that around. So the notes I wrote, and this isn't just the candy, this is like in overall my issues that I'm having, but the candy was definitely something that I had to like pony up and say, hey, get it out of the house or out of my line of sight, because it's too tempting for me. I cannot say no yet. So my personal food addiction, I mean, I don't necessarily know, like, if I'm a stress eater or if I'm an emotional eater. I know that if I feel like there's a void in my gut, like if you're sad, you kind of feel empty on the inside, I eat at that point. I don't necessarily eat because I'm sad. It's just that, maybe it is, I don't know. I also eat when I'm bored, so I have to keep myself busy. I took a coloring book to work, so in my downtime, I'm listening to a TV show that I'm watching, like just listening to. I don't have to like watch the show, I'm just listening to it. And then I'm coloring. Like, I'm doing something to occupy my mind so it's not thinking about food. Now, I've done really well and I haven't gone to the break room and like bought anything, and I've had my credit card this whole time since I put it back in the other day. I haven't been tempted to go in there. So that's been big, but it's still a struggle. So, but what I think is the most prominent issue I have with my food addiction is I love the feeling of being full. Now, being full before surgery just felt, you might have felt like a little uncomfortable, like, oh, well, I need to make some room in there and belch or whatever. But it wasn't like horribly uncomfortable. And you could eat a long time to get that full feeling. Now, 4 bites in and I'm full, and I shouldn't be full. I should have stopped 2 bites before that, but I like that feeling of full. And now that I've had surgery, it's not comfortable at all to be full. It is almost painful to be full, but I still enjoy that sensation. So there were like a couple of days where I would eat and be full, and then I would just wait 20 or 30 minutes, enough to make a little bit of room, and I would eat more food. And I just kept doing that like throughout the day. So I was like grazing all day long. And that kind of scared me because one, it was like I couldn't control myself. I just felt like I just had to keep eating just to keep that full feeling. And then the thought crossed my mind, like, am I breaking myself? Like, I realize I'm not going to tear my, suture line open. But like, over time, if I don't get that under control, I am going to completely undo any efforts put into me as far as like the size of my stomach. I'm going to stretch my stomach back out, and it might take a couple of years or not. I really don't know. Either way, I'm risking stretching it out and creating an atmosphere in which I easily gain my weight back. So even though I can say that like this week and last I meal prepped and I made really good solid meal prepping choices, my foods are really good and healthy, even overeating those is going to be a problem. Like, I'm still going to have a potential weight gain if I overeat those foods. So if I stretch my stomach out, even though I might be on a good habit of eating healthily, I still could possibly gain weight. So that scares the freaking bejesus out of me. Because I didn't sign up to freaking fail. Like, who signs up to fail? Nobody. Nobody goes in with the intention of doing that. We all want to be the perfect weight loss patients. And I'm just not that one. I see people that I watch on YouTube that I aspire to be like. I've got people that I follow, and I'm like, man, they've got it. They've got their S under control. What do I need to do to replicate that? You know, how do I do exactly what they're doing and not continually feel like I'm on the struggle bus when it comes to just doing it every day? I don't know. That's the part I really have to figure out, is how to make it sustainable for me for the long haul. And one thing I will add, I like to exercise. I love to exercise. Exercise has always been the easy part of my weight loss journey, no matter where I've been in it, regardless of surgery or not. Weight loss has always been something I've enjoyed doing. So now there have been days where I'm like, well, I absolutely have to exercise tonight because, I ate a bunch of freaking candy today. Like, I can't, and I'm not using exercise as a punishment because I enjoy doing it, but I'm starting to turn what exercise means to me into, well, you can eat like crap as long as you work it off. And really, you're not necessarily working it off. I mean, you could be, but it's not creating any positive habits. So I just need to get it together. And, maybe it's a matter of fake it till you make it. I don't know. I'm willing to try because I don't want to feel like I'm breaking myself. I don't want to feel like I'm doing this wrong. I want to feel like I'm succeeding. And yes, the scale is going down, although some weeks obviously slower than others. But I don't want it to stop. I don't want it to stop because I'm foiling all the efforts, I'm having to work twice as hard because I'm making poor choices. That being said, I have a goal. I think I mentioned it in my last video. I want to run 100 miles in November. So every day I have been on the treadmill, regardless of how many steps I take throughout the day. I could walk 7 miles throughout the course of my day, just in general walking, but I make a concerted effort at the end of my day to get on the treadmill and walk 3.5 miles. I mean, it could be outside, but quite frankly, it's too cold for me to go outside and do that. So every day I've been doing 3.5 miles, which is just over the amount necessary to actually make the 100 miles. It's like 3.3333. So I had the feeling that this last weekend, well, I will get on there Saturday and Sunday and do 5 miles at a time because, I don't know what that is doing up there. Get ahead of the game in case I have a bad day and I don't get to either walk at all or walk as much as I would like to. So I got on there Saturday and and actually it was Friday and Saturday because I happened to be home last Friday. I worked from home. So I got on there Friday, and by the time I got to the 3 mile mark and I had half a mile to go, or a 1.5 miles if I was actually going to do the 5, there was like no way in Hades I can do 5 miles right now. Like, I've walked 5 miles without issue. I don't have an issue walking 5 miles, but I was trying to go at a pace that was not a leisurely walk. I want to kind of get a benefit out of it in as much as that it's exercise. So I'm not quite there yet. So I'm still doing the 3.5 a day, and I have every day, which I'm really proud of. In fact, yesterday I got home from work, and yesterday was leg day for me in the morning. So I did an hour leg workout at the gym, and then I had looked at our community center, which I've been a member of for a while and I don't ever go. And that's horrible waste of money because it's already paid for and I'm just letting that membership, just sit there. So I looked up their class schedule, printed it out, and every day of the week I picked the classes that I am most interested in and the times that they're available. And so last night there happened to be 2 classes that I was most interested in. So I left work a little bit early after I got all my stuff done, and I rushed home to get changed to go to the gym, and I spent 2 hours at the gym doing a class that was called Ripped, and it means something. It's an anagram for something. It's like resistance, interval, plyometrics, I don't remember all the letters, but it's an acronym. That's what it is. It's an acronym for something. I just don't remember what it was. And then that was the first hour, and then Zumba was the second hour. And now the Zumba class, I want to love Zumba like everybody else freaking loves Zumba, because I love to dance. I love music, I love to dance, I love to feel a beat and then move with it. I just could not, I think it's just because I'm not as coordinated as I need to be at the moment to really enjoy it. So I did it, and I got a good sweat, but it was all right. I will probably try it again because I want to like it. But so I did the 2 hours, and then I got home and I ate my dinner, and I asked my husband if he's been making me watch, I don't like scary movies, and he's been making me watch a Saw movie every night. So last night we did Saw 3. I don't know how many more of these movies we have, but I'm getting kind of tired of them because I don't like scary movies. Anyway, so I asked him, are we doing this tonight? Because it was already 8:15 when I got home. And he was like, yeah, but are you going to be on the treadmill? I mean, you just worked out, you had leg day, and then you just worked out for 2 hours. Are you still going to get on the treadmill? And I was like, yeah. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, I have a goal to meet. And if I don't do this every day, I'm going to put myself behind. And I want to have the dedication to be able to meet a goal. Like, I really, I haven't had goals this whole time for weight loss. I have goals, like I have weights written down, but they're not anything crazy, right? So like the first goal I had was to get to like 240, and I don't remember why that was important to me, but it was. And then my next goal was like 232, because that was the lowest I had been as an adult. And then my next goal is 199, because then I'm less than 200. Like, I don't have 25 pounds, 50 pounds. Like, I don't even think about these goals necessarily in my day. If I happen across them and I find the little note card that I wrote on, then I'm like, oh, I made that goal 3 months later. Like, it's not a big deal to me, and maybe it should be, I don't know, but for whatever reason, doing this 3.5 miles a day, getting the 100 miles for November, I'm treating that like a big deal, because I normally quit any project I start. Like, I don't follow through and see things through to the end very often. Ever. I really don't. And that's a problem that I have. I've got to work on. So I was actually pretty proud of myself when I was standing up for why I wanted to, even though I was so tired, physically exhausted, I was still going to get on that treadmill, and I was still going to do my 3.5 miles. And I did. And it took me just over an hour, because I walked a little bit slower than I had been the previous days, just because my legs had it. But it's one that's down for the books. I don't have to worry about those 3.5 miles. So I was really proud of myself. I think at this juncture, I just need to take it one day at a time. It's silly, it's cliche, but that's what it is. One day at a time, because I can manage one day. I cannot manage, a week. I cannot manage a month. I can think about it and I can plan it out all I want, but actually pulling the trigger and executing it it's too much of a challenge for me. I have to have those small incremental one day, and those days add up. So I apologize. This has been like I don't know if it's my longest, but it's definitely right up there with my longest video. So I will, and it's shaky, and I don't know how you guys make these great car videos because yours don't shake like mine. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I will talk to you next week, hopefully with a loss. And I hope you continue having good eating choices. Make exercise count. Have a good week. Bye.